"Do you have an expired cake for my daughter?" The question slipped out in a whisper, thin and trembling, almost drowned by the hum of the luxurious bakery. For a moment, the world seemed to pause. Customers in tailored suits and elegant dresses turned, confused, as the young woman clutched her little girl's hand tighter, her eyes fixed on the glass display of perfect cakes she knew she could never afford. What she didn't know was that the man standing behind her, silent and impeccably dressed, had just heard everything, and her words would change his life forever. The bakery sat on the corner of one of the city's most expensive streets, a place where gold-lettered signs and crystal chandeliers were ordinary. Maria had hesitated before stepping inside. Her worn shoes and faded coat felt out of place against the marble floors, but it was her daughter Lily's birthday. Lily had turned 7 that morning, and despite everything, Maria wanted to give her something that felt like a celebration. Even a small one, even if it meant swallowing her pride. They had spent the morning together in their tiny apartment, blowing imaginary candles over a pretend cake made of air and laughter. Lily smiled, but Maria saw the longing in her eyes. Lily never complained. She was too young to understand how heavy life had become for her mother, too kind to ask for things she knew were impossible. That kindness hurt Maria more than any cruel word ever could. So she had come here, hoping that maybe there was a cake past its sell-by date, something the bakery would throw away anyway. She wasn't asking for charity, she told herself. Just something that wouldn't be missed. The young clerk behind the counter blinked, unsure she had heard correctly. "I'm sorry," she asked gently. Maria swallowed. "An expired cake, or one you're going to discard? It's my daughter's birthday." Her voice cracked on the last word, and she felt Lily's small fingers squeeze hers, as if to say it was okay. Before the clerk could respond, a deep, calm voice spoke from behind them. "Why would you want an expired cake?" Maria turned slowly. The man who stood there was tall, his posture confident, his suit clearly tailored to perfection. His silver hair was neatly combed, and his eyes, sharp yet thoughtful, studied her not with judgment, but curiosity. She recognized him instantly, though she had only ever seen his face on magazine covers and business news. This was Jonathan Hale, the millionaire entrepreneur whose name was synonymous with success. Embarrassment burned through her. I can't afford a fresh one," she said quietly. "But my daughter deserves something." Jonathan looked at Lily, who stared back with wide eyes, clutching a worn stuffed rabbit. Something in her gaze pierced straight through him. He had built empires, signed deals worth millions, but this moment unsettled him more than any negotiation ever had. "Come with me," he said suddenly. Maria stiffened. Fear and confusion tangled in her chest. "I don't want trouble," she said quickly. "You're not in trouble," Jonathan replied, his tone firm but kind. "I just want to talk." After a moment's hesitation, she nodded. The clerk watched in stunned silence as Jonathan guided them to a small seating area near the window. He ordered tea for Maria, hot chocolate for Lily, and then, without asking, told the clerk to bring out the most beautiful cake in the bakery. "No," Maria protested softly. "Sir, I can't. It's not for sale," Jonathan interrupted. "It's a gift." Tears welled up in Maria's eyes as the cake was placed on the table, covered in pastel frosting and tiny sugar flowers. Lily gasped, her face lighting up in pure wonder. "Is it really for me?" she asked, barely believing. Jonathan smiled, a genuine smile that surprised even himself. "Happy birthday, Lily." As Lily clapped her hands in delight, Jonathan turned his attention back to Maria. "Tell me," he said gently, "what brought you here?" The story spilled out of her, as if a dam had broken. Maria spoke of her husband, a construction worker who had died 2 years earlier in an accident. Of medical bills that swallowed their savings. Of jobs she lost because she had to leave early to pick Lily up from school. Of nights when she skipped meals so her daughter wouldn't go to bed hungry. She spoke without self-pity, only exhaustion and quiet resilience. Jonathan listened. He didn't interrupt. Every word etched itself into his heart. When she finished, There was a long silence. Outside, luxury cars passed by, oblivious to the small world that had shifted inside the bakery. "I grew up poor," Jonathan said finally. Maria looked up, surprised. "My mother used to clean houses. On my birthdays, she'd bake bread and put a candle on it. She'd tell me it was cake." He paused, his gaze distant. "I forgot what that felt like." Maria smiled sadly. "Your mother did her best," she said. "She did," he agreed. "And she taught me something I seem to have lost along the way." That afternoon didn't end with just cake. Jonathan insisted on walking them home. Their apartment was small, the paint peeling, the furniture mismatched and worn. Jonathan noticed everything, but he didn't comment. Instead, he knelt to Lily's level and handed her a small box. Inside was a brand new backpack, bright and sturdy. "For school," he said. "So you can carry all your dreams." Lily hugged him without hesitation, wrapping her arms around his neck. Jonathan froze for a second, then hugged her back, emotion tightening his chest. Over the next few weeks, Jonathan couldn't stop thinking about them. The question Maria had asked echoed in his mind. "Do you have an expired cake for my daughter?" It haunted him during board meetings and charity galas. He began to notice things he had ignored for years. The tired faces of single parents, the quiet struggles hidden behind polite smiles. He reached out to Maria, offering her a job at one of his company's community outreach programs. It wasn't charity. It was work that paid fairly and offered flexible hours. Maria hesitated at first, afraid of relying on someone else again, afraid of hope. But Lily's excitement and Jonathan's sincerity convinced her to try. The job wasn't easy. Maria coordinated aid for struggling families, listening to stories that mirrored her own. Some days she came home drained, carrying the weight of other people's pain. But she also came home fulfilled. She was helping others find dignity, just as she had once needed. Jonathan faced challenges too. His board questioned his growing focus on social programs. Profits dipped slightly as he redirected funds. Critics accused him of being sentimental, of losing his edge. For the first time in decades, Jonathan doubted himself. One night, he visited Maria and Lily again. They shared a simple dinner, laughter filling the small apartment. Lily showed him her drawings, all of them bright and hopeful, filled with cakes, suns, and smiling people holding hands. "Why do you draw so many cakes?" Jonathan asked. Lily thought for a moment. "Because cake means someone cares," she said simply. That night, Jonathan made a decision. Within a year, he launched a nationwide initiative through his company. Bakeries and restaurants partnered to donate unsold food to families in need, not as leftovers, but as dignified gifts. He funded training programs for single parents, created flexible jobs, and insisted that kindness be part of the company's mission, not just a marketing slogan. The challenges were immense. Logistics failed. Partners dropped out. The media scrutinized every move. But Jonathan persisted, driven by a little girl's smile and a mother's quiet courage. Maria thrived in her role, eventually becoming a program director. She moved Lily into a better apartment, one with sunlight and a small balcony where they grew flowers. Life wasn't perfect. There were still bills, still worries, but there was stability, and there was hope. On Lily's 8th birthday, they returned to the same bakery. This time, Maria held her head high. Jonathan joined them, not as a benefactor, but as family. The bakery was busier than ever, with a sign in the window that read, "No one leaves without celebrating." As Lily blew out her candles, Jonathan felt a warmth he had chased his entire life through success and wealth, only to find it here, in a simple moment of shared joy. He leaned toward Maria and said softly, "Thank you for asking that question." Maria smiled. "Thank you for hearing it. Sometimes, change doesn't begin with grand speeches or massive plans. Sometimes, it begins with a quiet, desperate question asked in a room full of abundance, and with someone choosing to listen, truly listen, and let their heart be changed."